Hi guys, this is the third video in the emotion coaching training. So today I'm going to talk through step one of the emotion coaching technique. So emotion coaching is basically an approach that you can use when your child or young person is showing any heightened emotion, and we want to coach them through that emotion. We want to be high in guidance, so we want to guide them from whatever feeling they are feeling to a positive resolution, and we want to be high in empathy as well. So I'm going to talk you through step one, which is empathy. So if you imagine that your child is showing a powerful emotion, what we want to do to teach them how to regulate and to de-escalate the situation is we want to meet them with empathy. And whenever I've taught this in the past, this point kind of comes up against a bit of resistance, because the most unnatural thing for us to do when we see a child displaying challenging behaviour or challenging emotions is be understanding and be calm and be sympathetic to them. And again, I think it's because the way we've been brought up is to be quite disapproving, if we think about the techniques I talked about in my other video, and basically get control. So we want to regain control. That's our natural instinct, is to regain control and stop that emotion. And we've been taught that the best way to do that is to challenge it head on. So what I'm suggesting, and what really does work, is to de-escalate the situation by showing understanding and remaining calm. It takes a lot of practice, because it, like I say, often isn't our natural response to be calm. But I promise you that once you start to adopt this approach, you will see amazing differences, and basically differences in length of how long the challenging behaviour lasts for, and a difference in how often it happens, because your child is learning how to regulate their emotions. The vagus nerve is healthy, they have good vagal tone. That's in my first video of this emotion coaching series, where I talk about how positive interactions help to promote good brain development. So your child's animal instinct when they're feeling distressed will be to register how you your voice, your tone of voice, your facial expression, your volume of voice are all very key in whether we support the children or whether we escalate the challenging emotion. So we want to support. So we want to use calm voice, we want to use low volume, and we want to use very neutral and supportive facial expressions. A lot of mirroring, a lot of nodding, a lot of I get it. Okay, so step one, empathy. Imagine your child is showing an emotion that you want to support them through. The first thing you are going to do is understand it. So you know your children better than anybody. Whatever approach is the most positive for them obviously is the one you will take. Some children want to cuddle, depending on what the emotion is. Some children want you to just be there. Some children are happy for you to talk. But most of the time, in step one, we just need to listen. So a good way to encourage this, especially if you're new to this and your child is used to being meeting opposition, if your child is used to you being challenging when they have an intense emotion, you might need to kind of teach them that this is a new way. So if they are crying or if they are getting angry, you might have to say something that shows them that you are doing it differently. Like, it could be, it's okay, tell me what's happening, tell me how you feel. So they can see actually that this is different, we're going to be doing this different now. What you might like to do is you might like to watch this video with them and tell them that this is an approach that you are going to practice. So say to them, you know, we're going to give this a go. So the next time you're feeling really, really sad or worried or angry, I am going to be understanding and I'm going to try and help you through it. So you might need an intro word, you know, your child is distressed, they're worried or whatever. You might need to go in with, you know, tell me what your feelings are, you know, how are you feeling, when did it start, when did you first feel like this? So this here, the empathy part, is basically a bit of a counsellor sort of counsellor session really with them, even if they are angry. So even if they are angry, and that kind of triggers us as humans, we feel anxious and angry ourselves when we see somebody displaying aggressive behaviour. But even if they are angry, go through the break wall cycle, which I think I covered in activity 20. It's somewhere around there. So work through that process, and when they have calmed down and they've come out of the other end, you can start the emotion coaching when they are calm. So with anger, you wouldn't necessarily go straight in with emotion coaching unless you know your child can calm with empathy. But if they're at crisis, they won't be able to reason. So you need to go through that cycle first of all. So definitely have a look at that video about the anger cycle and how to manage that. And then you can do the emotion coaching once your child is calm. Any other emotions like anxiety or fear or sadness, you can go it straight in with your emotion coaching. It's very much, tell me what is happening, tell me how you feel, and listen to your child as if they are talking about what they've had for dinner. It's very, very hard to take our natural emotion out of it, because we often feel fearful for our children. We don't want them to be worried, and we sometimes think, oh my gosh, you know, are they really suffering? So try not to, we want empathy, so we want understanding, but try not to become distressed by it. Try not to, you know, say things like, oh, that's terrible, or, oh, you know, you shouldn't be feeling like that. We're going in with empathy. Even if inside we are probably thinking, oh, I'm really worried about my child now. Try not to convey that to your child. Talk to other adults about it once you've done your emotion coaching session with your child, but don't display that to your child, otherwise it can be quite distressing for them. They don't want to upset you, and it can sometimes shut down the conversation because they then feel responsible for your feelings. No guilt, don't worry if you've done that before. Every single person in the world has, every single parent, every single teacher, every single professional who works with children. So it's just a learning experience. So open up a dialogue of, you know, it's a safe space, you can talk to me, tell me how you're feeling, you know, it's okay, it's all right to open up. Be very non-judgmental, be very very calm, validate their emotions. So even if you don't agree with how they feel, as in like you wouldn't feel like that, or you think actually they're overreacting, the point is they do feel like that. So all of their emotions are valid, even if you know, secretly disapprove of them. Don't convey that to your child if you can help it. So, you know, using phrases like, you know, I get it, you know, it's quite normal to feel like that in that situation. I can see how you feel like that. I can see why you feel like that. So validating how they feel so that they're not feeling weird because they've got a worry that is unusual. I've worked with hundreds of children, and I've learned that there's no such thing as an unusual worry. They're often very, very similar. But a lot of us only have experience of working with one child, or the experience of parenting or caring for one child. So we feel quite alarmed when our children have their worries. But please, please be relaxed as much as you can about this, and just, this is teaching them how to explore their emotions in a safe way. Very important experience for them to have. And I think I mentioned it in my video yesterday that if we deny our children the experience of exploring their emotions, no matter how painful that process is, they will never know how to do it when they're older, when they are independent and when they're responsible for their feelings. If we've always done it for them, if we've always either dismissed their feelings or controlled their feelings, they won't know how to process them. So it will be painful listening to your child's worries and listening to their concerns, but it's so necessary. It's such a necessary part of healing to get those feelings out and process them. Okay, so we are validating emotions. Most part of this, I'm calling it a session, but this is really basically just a bit of time with your child, or if you're a teacher or a support worker in school, this is basically a conversation. So it's not formal, it's basically time in with your child or with the child that you're supporting. A lot of this will be listening, a lot of this will be nodding and smiling and yeah, I get it, those kind of responses. Try very hard not to guide at this point. Try very hard not to contain the emotion at this point, because that's not what this first bit is about. This first bit is about ensuring that your child is heard and feels heard, so that those feelings are out and they've not been judged and they have been accepted, they've been validated. It is powerful. As adults, you know, it's powerful. You can do this with all relationships. So, you know, with partners, with friends, with family members, we just want to be heard. We just want to be understood. So this is a very, very powerful part of healing. Okay, showing understanding comes into all of the things I've just said. So when you are making the appropriate noises and the appropriate facial gestures, that you get it, a child is feeling, or whoever you are doing this with is feeling understood. This kind of goes without saying, and hopefully this has become apparent if you've watched any of my other videos, that my whole approach, and the approach that is widely successful in supporting people and young people with their emotions, is that we are focusing on the emotions and not the behaviour. So at this point, we're not even going to talk about behaviour. No matter what they've done. So if they've just come out of their anger cycle, and if they're now calm and you're talking about angry behaviour and they might have broken something, we're not talking about that at this point. We are simply information gathering. We are gathering information about how our child feels, and they are processing the feelings that they have. Nothing about behaviour, nothing about judgment, nothing about any punishments, nothing like that at this stage. Okay, so it's a total focus on emotions. How do you feel? Not why did you do that, but how did you feel? Again, you can start unpicking. When did you first feel like this? Did something happen that made you feel like that? How many times have you felt like this? What do you normally do to help yourself when you feel like this? So you're unpicking and trying to build up a picture of your child's emotions and their strategies that they already have for dealing with it. And some might be positive, but some might not be so much. And finally, very important part, and this is why it's so important that you guys have your own way of offloading your feelings somewhere else away from your child, is remaining calm. So when we are calm and when we are finding space to process our feelings, we are then available for our children. It's exactly like I was saying yesterday about putting on your own oxygen mask before you support a child, so that you can be very neutral, very non-judgmental. You're not being triggered, you're not taking anything personally, you are simply there for the child, and you remain calm. Because when a child talks to you about very complex emotions, and the person they are talking to is calm, it teaches them that it's safe to open up, and that their emotions are not odd or weird, they are valid. Okay, so I hope that's helped. That is step 1 of emotion coaching. Step 2 and 3 I will upload over the next few days, and you use them together. So step 1 followed by step 2 followed by step 3, all in one conversation, and I will put those up for you very, very soon. Hope you're all well, hope that's helped you, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.